everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome to Chat with Chris and Pat, day 54.
Day 54?
Day 54.
Holy cow, day 54.
We decided today that we wanted to talk about love languages.
Yeah.
The 5 love languages. I know most people already know about the 5 love languages. Your hand's still on my baby.
Dang it. Okay. All right.
Most people already know about the 5 love languages. So we'll just touch on them briefly. But you know what we thought would be really helpful is giving examples. Because I don't know about you, but when we were reading the book, I'm like, okay, he gave some examples, but some of it did not seem to like really resonate. But that was one of the first books we...
Oh, you talking about his living examples, his cases?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember in the book how he gave some examples? So, I'm sorry, this is all over the place. We didn't want to go up and get our tripod.
Just to explain.
So lazy, I'm sorry.
Written by a couples therapist?
I think so.
Yeah.
Gary Chapman?
Gary Chapman, yeah.
Gary Chapman. And it was a transformative book in our marriage. We got that early on, probably, what would you say?
Man,
year
we got it pretty early.
Maybe year 2?
3? I thought it was
know.
year 2.
Okay. Early. And we had been really struggling the first couple of years of marriage because we just were not understanding, and we had a baby, and it was just rough.
Yeah, we were frustrated with each other.
Yeah. So let's go into some examples. So we'll talk what the 5 love languages are, and we'll talk. We'll tell you what the 5 love languages are, just to recap, because most of you already know them, and then we'll give some examples, that we think helped us, or like real world situations.
Right.
Okay. So you want to name them?
Number 1, special gifts.
Yeah, sure. We'll do special gifts first.
Okay. Explanation of each, or just keep going?
No, we'll just talk special gifts.
Special gifts.
Quality time.
Right. Quality time.
Mm-hmm.
Actions. Acts of service.
Acts of service is number 3.
Physical touch.
Yep. And words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation.
Oh, that's okay. And words of affirmation rounds it out. So let's go over each of them. Gifts, and we'll give an example. Gifts. So neither of us have this as our primary. So everybody has like a primary and a secondary love language.
Yeah.
And I mean, I do think that in some way we can benefit from all the love languages. But I do think also, whatever your primary love language is and your secondary, those are the 2 that fill your tank the most, your love tank, as he likes to call it, meaning that it really boosts your opinion of someone and your connection with someone when they use and speak to you in your primary and secondary love language. And conversely, those are the 2 areas that you can be wounded in most easily. And the person can lose and debit your love account with those. So,
right, it's almost like, love bank account, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I'm just trying to get comfy on my back. Okay. The acts of, gifts. We said gifts first.
Yeah, special gifts.
All right. So gifts is one that neither of us have as our primary or secondary love language. Mm-hmm. One of our children has this, and it's always been somewhat of a challenge to meet.
Yeah, it has. And this is something that takes more thought, would you say? It's not just a fancy toy. It's a toy that reminds somebody of a past good experience, or
like, hey, I was out and I thought of you. It's really what it boils down to is the person feels most loved when someone else thinks of them and shows that they've been thinking of them through a gift, which makes sense, right? And presentation matters to gifts, love language. So like it could be a hand-drawn little thing wrapped up in a nice little bow. And it's the effort and the attention that goes into presenting this to them that is really beautiful. And so conversely, you know, forgetting to get something for them, or not thinking about them, or recognizing, like throwing it together in like a brown bag, right? Like very little thought given to it can be very hurtful. Okay, so what was the second one we said? You said acts of service? No, quality
I'm not
time.
sure what order, but
Second one was quality time.
Quality time, yeah.
Which is mine.
Yes.
My primary love language is quality time. And there's two different types of quality time. Doing actions together, quality time doing things, and quality time in communication. Mine is quality time in communication.
Yes.
With the strong secondary doing actions together. So like going on trips together, traveling, having those...
Working out together.
I enjoy that. Just time together that is consciously created. So for me, when my partner here,
I hope so.
Yeah, right. He feels my love take when he comes to me and was like, "Oh, hey, I had this idea. I'd love to sit and talk with you about it." And I'm like, "Wow, really? Okay." I'm all ears. And I love that, right? Another one that would be a good one is...
Hey, I want us to do some shopping for clothes together, you know? No? Yeah, no? Okay,
yeah,
right.
yeah. I mean...
You know, where you get to pick what you want. And,
but it's more that... So you can see he's still trying to learn this one. This has been his hardest language to learn.
Yeah.
And when we started out, it was so bad.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
one of the worst things that you can do with someone who has quality time and communication as their primary love language is fall asleep while that person is talking or while you're talking to them.
You know, without very effective communication, instead of thinking I can muscle through trying to listen to her and provide input, while I was sleepy, I decided to, I should have said, "Honey, gosh, I want to hear you, and I want to provide good quality feedback, and I don't think I'll be able to do that after today."
Yeah, I want to spend time with you.
Yeah.
I want to spend time with you is like a really nice thing to say for people who have quality time love language. Oh, I really look forward to spending time with you. And then following up and actually spending time with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not just on your phone or whatever. Also, like reading aloud to me is another great way to build love language stuff. Because particularly if it's something, and then like talking about it. Oh my God. Wow. Okay, and then like I said, some ways that you can detract from that love language the most is by when there's an opportunity or when they've said, "Hey, I really want to talk to you about this," showing no interest or falling asleep while they're talking, not following through on that, "I want to be with you." Or like, for example, saying that you're going to plan a date and not planning the date. Because those show that they do not have importance in your life. And that's like, you're going to lose big time, like in their love bank for doing that. So, you've learned that a lot.
Yes.
So these are things that we learn from experience, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The third one was acts of service, I think.
Acts of service, yeah. I think early on we decided that was me.
Yeah, I think so one of the things that we've still been trying to figure out is which of your love languages are genuine and which ones have been learned. Because your mother was an acts of service for sure. And sometimes you kind of have a habit from childhood of doing things because that's what you were taught to do. And so sometimes you grow up thinking that that's your love language when it's really not.
Right. Right.
But you do love doing acts of service for people. And I think you do get excited when people do them for you.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. The mystery is, does that hit my heart?
Exactly.
Like if somebody were to do it for me, am I intellectually saying, oh, I really need to show my appreciation, or wow, I really appreciate that.
Right. Yeah. And I think compared to the other ones, I think is probably not as high.
I agree.
But okay, so acts of service. It's basically what we just were talking about. Like if you're going to the kitchen and you get yourself a glass of water, getting the other person a glass of water too. If you see that their laundry is on the floor, and you just go ahead and start washing it for them, that's acts of service. It's doing things without having to be asked.
Mm-hmm.
If the person with acts of service has to ask you, you have failed. Mm-hmm. Just putting it simply.
Let me know if this is better to not speak on or speak on later, but one of the things that Gary Chapman had pointed out is because early on we have a chosen way to be loved, I guess,
Right. We have our primaries.
So we early on, we choose to love our partner in that way.
Right.
And it's not what they're needing. It's a different language.
So like it's like speaking Chinese to someone who speaks only English.
Yeah.
It's like you're trying to yell, "I love you so much. I love you. Can't you see how much I love you?" But all they hear is,
"I'm washing the dishes. Hey,
right.
I love you." But she's like, well, instead of washing dishes, why don't you just sit down with me and let's have a conversation
and not fall asleep during
it. Yeah, that would have been much better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? And so, you have a tendency to love the person with your primary or secondary love language. And that works awesome if you guys have the same one, which obviously we do not.
Yeah.
Because why would we?
Right. That'd be boring.
We have to be opposites.
Yeah.
And so acts of service. And then, so like one of the wounding things of acts of service is not thinking of the person, or waiting for them to ask you to do something. Mm-hmm. Is very detrimental and hurtful for someone who's an acts of service. And if they have asked you to do something, not doing it after being asked can also be wounding, which kind of is confusing because they don't want to have to ask you, but if they do, then you're really stuck. Yeah. All right. So,
all right. So far we've done special gifts, words of affirmation.
No, we haven't done words of affirmation yet.
Oh yeah, we did.
Physical touch was the next one we talked about. Physical touch, and then we ended with words of affirmation. Yeah. Physical touch. So people with physical touch, it's not just sex. I mean, pretty much everybody enjoys that. But it's just having that reassurance of another person's touch that fills them. And you should probably talk on this more than me. But
yeah, I mean, if you had seen, I think 1 or 2 days ago, you saw Christine doing this to me, Chris doing this to me. And, even when she did that, looked like minor, but it was like, oh man, that feels good.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. It's like, I feel loved when she does little simple things like that.
Like, just like right now, I have a tendency to keep my hands on him. Just keep our hands on him. He likes it.
That's all I need. Yeah.
He likes it so much. But his physical touch love language was a hard one for me to learn because it felt almost like an invasion of my own privacy. Like, I was like, could you not always be up on top of me? Like, physical space is a thing.
I remember when we were dating and it was in the wintertime. We went out with a bunch of friends, and I was doing this to her.
Oh my
God.
God.
Try to keep her warm.
Oh.
Stop it.
It's so cringy to me. But like, I like when he has his hand on my lap, or, just a soft, I've really grown to become proficient in physical touch language. And just like little things, like when I see him, I know that he likes to he's like a cat, And I think physical touch love languages are a lot like that. Just walking in the room and putting your hand down their back, reaching out and just holding their hand when you're in the car.
Yeah.
Things like that. Yeah. So what's really wounding for a physical touch love language is rejecting their touch.
Yeah.
Right? Or like if they want to hold your hand, pulling it away. Or coming in a room and having the option and ability to be close, or have like just a reassuring pat on their back or whatever. Yeah. And just intentionally not doing that.
Yeah.
So those are things that you want to avoid. And when you have angsty feelings towards your partner, like sometimes in a marriage, you just get a little bit like, and that's part of what this is all about. If you are speaking your partner's love language, you will be filling their tank. If you are doing things intentionally or unintentionally against them, it creates resentment. Mm-hmm. It creates deep felt resentment, and it's hard to understand where it even came from. You just start feeling more and more empty around the person, and more resentful, because they've become a hurtful place instead of a healing, loving place because of the love language.
And the natural tendency to love the partner, it kind of diminishes. It goes away.
You go into a hole.
You could become needy.
Well,
yeah.
You withdraw, because if you keep trying to reach out to your partner for physical touch, and they keep withdrawing and like pulling away and be like, I don't really want to be touched right now, you become so hurt and just start shutting down. Because like, what happens when your bank account gets to zero? When your bank account gets to zero, you're in debt, and it takes a lot more to rebuild this bank account than it does just to keep maintaining it.
Interest is being drawn.
Gosh. And the interest is steep, It's barbed words, it's cold shoulders, it's less and less of the love language that you really seek, because intuitively, I think we know what hurts the other person. And when your partner hurts you, it becomes somewhat of a knee-jerk reaction to withdraw and withhold what they need for love. And that's where it really becomes a challenge to fix.
I think what we learned is to have fair expectations on the healing process.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Taking time.
Not to be like, it's not love when you expect somebody to just drop it, and not have that
rebuilding.
Yeah.
If you just are like, oh, well, hey, I'm giving you physical touch now, you should be over it. It doesn't work that way.
No.
Oh, hey, I'm giving you acts of service. What's your problem? Hey, I'm sitting with you. What else can I be doing? No.
Yeah.
All of it has to be done, one, without being asked, and two, from a part of true desire to be giving it.
Yeah.
It's felt. It's a vibration that is felt. So lastly is words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation.
And this is another really important one, because it's so easy for people who don't have words of affirmation, like me, to find things that just need to get done or are not done the right way, or and it's super easy to be like, oh, hey, you did that wrong. Could you, don't. Could you not?
Could you not?
And while that's all well and good, the tone and the way in which it's said does need to be taken into consideration when your partner is a words of affirmation person. And this one's another really difficult one for me. Just like quality time is his real trick. Like he's still trying to figure out how to speak this language. And words of affirmation is mine. I'm still working on words of affirmation, even after all these years. And it's because they're such foreign concepts to us. And I know that sounds really awful. Like, I do know how to give praise to people, I promise. But
well, at least you know it's sincere when it happens.
that's just it. For me, it has to be sincere. And if there is some need to be better, I've had to really learn how to address that in a way that is supportive of him. To be like, oh, I see your effort in that. Thank you so much for trying to get that done. It would be great if that thing was done too. You know, you still don't like the whole thing, but it's better.
There's definitely some.
There's thought involved.
Yeah.
So, and criticism is one of the worst things you can do.
It's like a knife.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very damaging. And so, whereas other types, they're like, don't like it. Criticism can just suck all the way around. But criticism for someone with that as their love language it's not just detrimental to your relationship. It can actually really like wound them and make them go into like hiding. Yeah.
All right.
So this is a long video. I'm hoping it loads. We've had issues.
I have to do part 1, part 2.
Yeah, we'll see.
Maybe. Okay.
Anyway, so I hope that's been helpful. We can talk on the subject for hours, as you can probably tell. It's 21 minutes already. Leave your questions if you have some questions for us. We're not like registered experts on this, but we have a lot of experience, particularly when we have 6 kids with all different love languages. Yeah. So, all right. I hope this has been helpful to you.
Yes, I hope it's been helpful to you as well. And yeah.
Okay.
Blessings to your journey.
Ciao.
Ciao.